I like to believe that I was a good kid growing up. Well, I mean, I did get into trouble a few times, but it was mostly nothing serious. Mostly. My parents did a pretty good job with discipline, and this meant that for a long time I was what you would consider to be a good boy. But despite all this, one thing I always knew for a fact was that I liked women. Bro, women are elite. Like bro, bad bitches are in the top 3 reasons why I work so hard, and they're not number 3. And as a young boy, I was already aware of this. So much so that I would sometimes find myself hiding behind the couch at my mom's shop just so I could stare at and admire one of my mom's older workers that I had a crush on. So yeah, and despite meeting so many beautiful women and wanting all of them, there was one person who constantly remained in my heart. Meet Charity, my first love and the first person to really break my heart. Alright, before we continue, let me give you a little backstory on Charity. She was a friend from my childhood and we went to the same church. Her parents were pastoring one of the sub-churches under our headquarters, so that meant I only got to see her if I stayed back after service with my mom who worked in church, or if I was around for church events, which meant not so often. Now, for the longest time, I had the biggest crush on Charity. She was pretty, sophisticated, spoke well, just perfect. And the fact that I didn't always get to see her made me value her even more. She was like a rare talking Bakugan, special. These feelings would stay strong for years, so much so that I didn't have any other crushes from when I was 9 until I was 12 years old. Even after moving towns with my parents at 10, seeing her only once in that period. A few years would go by without us making any form of contact until I found her on Facebook sometime in 2018, just after I rounded up high school. We become friends on Facebook and thus begins our back and forth over text. We're catching up and all that, and I eventually mentioned how I had a crush on her as a kid, which we both laugh off due to her having a boyfriend at the time. Not even gonna lie, I was a bit pained, but life goes on. Fast forward a few months and she's constantly having problems with her boyfriend. I saw this as an opportunity, but being the nice guy that I was, I would always play shoulder to cry on and talk to her about possible ways to fix whatever problems they had. Their fighting would get worse over time, and being unable to bear seeing her hurt, I would begin pushing for their breakup, which they eventually did. And of course, I took this as an opportunity to build a rapport with her until she started to like me too. While all this is happening, I never once got the chance to see her face to face because, like I said earlier, I'd moved towns with my parents when I was 10 and she lived 2 towns over. Hi, it's me again. I hope you're enjoying the story. If you liked it, if you subscribed. No? I'm gonna give you a second. Done? Thank you. Back to the video. We'd only talked over text and FaceTime, but I didn't really think much of it back then because I knew that the distance between us wasn't all that. It would take no more than 30 to 45 minutes on the road for me to go see her, and since I had a little job as a social media manager at the time, I was making enough money to not be bothered by the cost of transportation. This was also around the time I gained admission into a university in a different state, and since she still had about a year left in high school, I knew I had to make my move and I had to do it soon. So I took a leap of faith and I asked her to be my girlfriend. She didn't give me a direct yes or no, but the response she gave was in the affirmative despite being somewhat vague and ambiguous. Ooh, big words. And that was how our short-lived relationship would begin. At first, it was what you would expect from the average teenage long-distance relationship. Hours of late-night phone calls, hundreds of 2 a.m. texts, falling asleep on FaceTime, all the best hits. She would often get into trouble with her parents because they were pastors and they were against our relationship, and as punishment, they would often take her phone away and forbid her from using it. But then she sneakily texted me using the phone without permission or using her brother's phone. It would go on like this for about 5 months, with the both of us getting to see each other only once during that time. Within those 5 months, she admitted to cheating on me by making out with her ex once. I was hurt, but I forgave her. I mean bro, I waited almost 10 years to get this girl. I wasn't just gonna let it go over one mistake. She was quite literally the love of my life. I was going to marry this girl. According to her, this ex would continue trying to get back together with her since they went to the same high school, but she would always turn him down. This would go on for a while and I'd consider going into his DMs to warn him to leave her alone, which I almost did but didn't in the end. Charity loved me and I trusted her. She'd also introduced me to a few of her friends and it was common knowledge among my own friends that she was my girlfriend. Fast forward to March of 2019, I'd started university in another state, adding even more distance to our already long distance relationship, and everybody already knows those things rarely ever work out. I began getting caught up with the new workload and was spending a lot of time on schoolwork. She also started having random mood swings and we started fighting a lot. She got paranoid about me meeting other girls in my school and was constantly acting passive aggressive about it. Hey babe.
Divine.
Did you just call me by my government name? What's up?
Oh, I didn't know I was still your babe. Sure, you have seen other fine women now. You no longer have time for me.
Babe, don't start again. I already told you this before. I have a lot on my plate with school and work. I don't even have time to look at other women because I'm too tired. Besides, I only have eyes for you.
So, are you saying that there are no fine girls in your class?
Jesus Christ. Babe, listen. None of these girls here compared to you. They wish they were as pretty as you. And besides, like I said, I only got eyes for you. Nobody else catching my eye. My dear viewers, that right there was a lie. Because there for sure were so many beautiful girls in my class. I had never seen so many beautiful women from all over the country in one place at the same time. But being the good boyfriend I was, I assured her that nobody would take her place, and I was determined not to pay attention to any of these girls. If I saw a girl I thought was pretty, I just think, she's pretty. Then I go back to minding my business like I never saw her, because I had a girlfriend who I was so deeply in love with. And this was recurring for a while. She kept trying to start fights. I kept reassuring her until Wednesday, March 20th, 2019. You may be wondering why I remember the date. Well, that's because my birthday was 3 days later on the 23rd of March. It was around 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I finished classes early that day and I was walking to my aunt's house when I got a message on WhatsApp from one of Charity's friends who called her Gabby. At first, I ignored the notification, but then a few more messages come in. So I opened it and it turns out it was Charity using Gabby's phone to text me because her parents had taken her own phone. Then she sends me a picture that I have to download. I click on it unaware that I was about to experience a canon event. The picture downloads and I saw that it contained a note in Charity's handwriting. Now, I don't remember the exact contents of the note, but it read something along the lines of, "Hello Divine, I'm sorry it had to be like this, but I have to tell you the truth. I have been using you this entire time, and to me, we were never really dating. I never directly said yes when you asked me to be your girlfriend, but I just went along with it. I didn't love you, and I'm back together with my ex. I wanted him back the old time, and I used you as a rebound. I'm sorry, goodbye," or something like that. My whole world crumbled. I was confused. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I just stood there looking at my phone screen. Gabby tried to comfort me, but I said it was okay. Went offline and continued walking. I was so disoriented by the news that I almost got hit by a bus and almost fell in a gutter. To make matters worse, I got beat by the rain, and that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. I stopped being sad about the breakup. I just got pissed and was like, man, f it. Today is just not my day. Then I went to a game store I often visited after classes, and I used that anger to beat everyone present at Mortal Kombat, a feat I have not been able to repeat since then. After that, I just went to my aunt's place, ate, and went to sleep. The breakup still hurt for a while, but then a few weeks later, the MJA story from the "She Caught Me With Her Sister" video would happen. Go check that video out. I'm gonna link it in the description and it should be up on the right part of your screen right about now. Look at me using YouTube tools properly. Charity and I wouldn't really talk for a while after this. I also found out from other people at her school that she cheated more times than she told me. I later heard her ex hurt and dumped her again, and a few months later when I visited her high school to see some of my own friends who had met during the time she and I were together, she would look at me from a distance but couldn't really come talk to me. I had already forgiven her, so I went to say hi to her, and that was that. We went back to being friendly with each other for a while, but now we don't really talk anymore. We mostly just view each other's stories, and that's it. I had wanted something for so long, and when I finally got it, it turned out to not be good for me. But because I had waited so long to get it, I wasn't willing to let go. And that brings us to the moral of today's story. Learn when to let go. I will not be elaborating because I am writing this at almost 1 a.m. and I have a class in the morning, so I have to be up early. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you. I love you. Goodbye.